Hi and welcome to Sam's Garage. So we are now doing the final episode of the build of my kit car, my Sylva Mojo 2. But is it the last episode? You see, the thing is, there's a few other things that I've kind of wanted to do to the car over the years. And now that the car's complete, I actually want to have a go at doing these, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to get up to. A few people have been asking how much time has actually gone into the car. So what are you actually looking at? You're probably looking at about 100 hours of work. So this has been evenings and bits over the weekend, because obviously I have to work full time, but this has been evenings and weekends for about 6-7 weeks now, and I've just fitted it in wherever I can. But you're looking at about 100 hours worth of work compiled down into 4 episodes. So they give you an idea of what I've had to go through to basically tear the car back to a rolling chassis and put it back together again. But hopefully you'll enjoy this. I've really enjoyed doing it. I am so excited to drive the car again because I've really missed it, and we've had some pretty amazing weather recently. So I'm looking forward to having it back on the road, but I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and thank you so much for everyone's support so far. It's been absolutely amazing, and don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and if you've got something very special that you'd like to share with us, I would love to come and see you because we do our guest episodes. So let's get into it. Okay, so we're back with the tub and it's sprayed, and if you ever wanted to know what a budget channel looked like, it's when you're actually having to fold parts of the car to get it into the back of another car. Basically, the tub just about fits, but I'm actually having to push the sides in to fit it in the back of the X5. So, but let's get it in and get it on the car. Let's go. So normally you would do this with 2 people because it just makes it obviously a little bit easier, but actually you see me take it off the car. It's not that difficult getting off and getting it back on again. So I'm gonna give it a crack on my own, but this is probably not gonna be the smoothest refitting of the body, but we'll see how we get on. That looks pretty good. So the tub's back on. Obviously it's not bolted down at the moment, but I just wanted to kind of show you around it. There's a few little jobs I've still got to do, get it sitting properly, but it looks pretty good. So let's take a look. And that is the first time we've seen those gold wheels with the contrast of the satin black paintwork, and it just looks amazing. It's absolutely going to transform the car. So I'm pretty pleased with it. It's come out pretty well. It's not the perfect paint job, but it's not supposed to be, but it's looking pretty good. All the black pipe work goes well with it. We've got the suspension to go on next, so we just need to crack on. So get on to the next bit. So we're just back from the powder coaters and we have got our springs. So springs all around for the coilovers, and we've got a couple of little bits and pieces that we've had made. We've got some other bits with them at the moment because we've just had some more parts made up, but this is the bracket that's going to hold our expansion tank in the back of the car. And the thing is, the quality of this looks absolutely amazing. So I want to say a big thank you to our friends at Ferndown Powder Coatings. Their information's in the bio. Brandon, you've been an absolute star, so thank you so much for this. And let's get them on the car. Right, we have got the suspension back together. Again, the springs came back, as I mentioned before, when I get them out the back of the car, they look absolutely sick. It's time to get them back on the car, so let's do it. That is so nice to start seeing the car coming back together again. It's black throughout, it's got these red bits on it, the wheels look amazing. It's time to start getting the tub fixed back to the chassis. Front tub's back on. Now we need to get in our new pins in here, and we need to get our little fuse box back in the front here, so we're going to find the screws for that. Okay, we're going to get a little fuse box back in, and here we go. I can't wait to see what this looks like when it's on the road. Plastic lid. One of the things that I wanted to show you was that I had a different idea for what we're going to do under the bonnet. The aluminium panel, which I painted a few years ago, I've started taking off with a wire brush, but it's left a bit of a mess. The hammerite's actually on there quite well, so it's going to stop the aluminium corroding, and there's no point taking it all the way back anyway. No one sees it, the battery sits on top of it, the fuel tank sits on top of it, but what I thought we'd do is we'd put some rubber matting down. It's not great down here, but what we can actually do is put some rubber mat down, and that will actually stop any vibration from underneath the petrol tank. Don't know why I didn't do it years ago. And same with the battery as well. So let's get that done. So here's our rubber mat. This stuff is perfect. Now, on this side, a lot of this matting comes with this. It's used for industrial purposes. It comes with these, you can have like checker plate or these dots. I'm not really that fussed, but I think I'm going to put it that side up so it's nice and flat anyway. So let's get that done. Right, I've got the first one in and it looks pretty good in there. So that's properly tidied it up, and that will help with any vibration from the tank sitting on the bottom. And I think we might do some for inside the car as well, under the seat and in the passenger and driver footwell. So let's get those in. And that is a lovely snug fit. So the rubber matting goes in and around the chassis, and now I can start fitting the other bits and pieces. I'm hoping the next time I come back, I'm putting the bonnet on. So let's put the windscreen on and look for any other little bits we can put on now. The interior needs to go back in, and I need to get this car back over the pit a little bit so I can do all the rivets on the underside of the tub. So let's do that. I'm not sure what to do with this at the moment. I think I'm going to use this as a template for getting the smoked Perspex one done. The dashboard comes halfway up the glass at the front, so we're going to have to do a strip along the bottom of the smoked Perspex with black wrapping material so that you can't see through to the electrics and behind the dashboard. But I think for now we'll just put the template back on. It was a template about 8 years ago. It's still a template, but I think we will get round to sorting it this time. I think that black on black looks pretty good. What do you think with the gold? Love to hear everyone's thoughts. So this is the plate that we cut to hold the expansion tank. So we're gonna mount this now. So let's get this in. Really, really excited, as you can probably see by where I'm sitting, that lots of the car is starting to come together. So let's get this on now, and then we'll get it mounted onto the car. And we're in. And that looks so much better. I haven't quite got the angle right. I think I might have to try and bend the aluminium a little bit more. I wanted it sitting a bit more flat. It's probably at about 20 degrees below the horizontal. I'm not really too sure how I've done that, but that's a job for another day. I'm gonna start stripping this apart, take the wing off it, take all the lights out of it, do any little fixes that it needs, and then get it ready for painting. So let's crack on. Right, that is all the parts stripped off the back end. We've got to do some repair work. We're going to fill these holes. So time to do some fiberglass work as well. Right, quick clean up of this area so the resin's got something to bond to, and then we can fiberglass it in. Right, now we need to leave it to cure, and then we can start doing all the other small repairs, because that's basically the fiberglass work done, and the rest of it's little bits of filler, pinholes, bits and pieces. But I think I'm done for tonight, so see you in the next bit. We're back in the garage, and as you can see, things are coming along. It's going really, really well. There's a couple little bits I haven't been able to film because they've been a bit finicky to do. But But for tonight, let's just get these little odds and sods out of the way. So let's get cracking. Right, so we've got our petrol tank back. So basically what happened was there was a thread on here years ago. It got damaged, and what I've had done is a new neck welded on. I've had the return pipe, because it's not an injected engine, it's carburetor, so I've had the return pipe removed. And now what I've got to do is I've got to put the float, which measures where the fuel is inside the petrol tank. So I need to get that on, I need to seal it, and this can go back in the car. Here's our float. And basically this is screwed to the top of the tank. As the fuel comes up in the tank, it goes up like this to its highest point, so that shows full. And what we have to do is basically make sure that when that's in the tank, it's as near to the top as possible. Obviously you don't want it too high, you don't want to overfill the tank. And then when it drops down, it basically reaches the bottom. So that's ready to go in. We need to put sealant in it, and then we need to screw it in place. So we'll get the sealant on, and then we'll screw this on. Fuel tank in. Let's move on to those fuel lines. Okay, so fuel lines that we cut a little while ago, they are ready to go in. So one's longer than the other. I always do this. I should have marked it at the time. I can't remember which one was supposed to go to which. I think bigger one goes onto there. So if this is the in on that side and out, so that's in from the fuel tanks are out here, that's going to be the shorter one that goes around like that, which is that one there on the top. So let's get that one on. Jubilee clips. Fuel system in. Right, now we've got to sort out another job. Problem we need to fix is these. These are the seats that were in the car that I borrowed from another vehicle. So what I need to do now is take this, strip off the old material, see if we can rescue the board on the back of it and the foam that's underneath it, and then we need to sew some new stuff to go on it. So we've got, this is the bottom piece, and this is the back piece. So, need to get these done, let's get them stripped down. Now we're going to use this to make our pieces that go around the outside. So we're going to have, ideally, one along the front, and then two down the side, which are going to join in the middle at the back, and then a main piece over the top. In fact, actually, let's not do that. Let's do one piece that starts at the back, goes up, over, so there's no join along the edge, and then we can just have two pieces down the side. That's a much better idea. That's our side piece. So this sewing machine I bought about 20 years ago, and I was told at the time, and it is really heavy duty, that the salesman that used to demonstrate these things used to demo them on army boots, because it was a very tough, thick leather, and this thing used to go straight through it. And I can account for the fact that over the years I have actually stitched leather with this thing. You know, I'm not going to win any awards for trimming interiors, but if it does the trick, I will be over the moon. So basically what you want to do is pull this in as tight as possible, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to start at this low point here, just underneath where you sit, and we obviously want the stitching to be along the edge, so we want to kind of centralize it. If we put one there and there, pull this side in. And that's one seam. Let's get onto the back bit and work out what we're going to do there. We are now going to fit this. So if we bring the seat and the other bits in, it is going to sit like that. The material's really nice, the finish was really nice. On to the next bits. Right, so you will be pleased to hear, and I'm definitely pleased to hear, that we are starting to move towards the last leg. We're pretty much there. And one of the things I'm excited about getting out is this, because this, and yes, it does need a clean, is going to go in the car, and we can start seeing how it's gonna look. That is really starting to come together. Brackets need to go on, bonnet needs to go on. We've got a couple of little bits to do with regards to getting the pins on so that it all fits in place and it can get locked down. So now we've got to reassemble the back end. So we've got to make the pins already on the car. We've got to put the lights in. I'm not going to worry about the number plate at the moment. So we've got to put indicator at the top, then the brake and tail lights, and then our reflectors. They're all in here. Let's get going. That's not good. Broken it. So those lights are in the back. So now what we need to do is we need to get the grills on the side. What have I done with them? It's not even a big garage. So that is about right. So these can all now go in properly. Okay, grills are on. So now this can go on the car. I want to bring this over like that. And then bring it down either side of the car. And it is just sitting on that side. And then that should be absolutely fine there. One of the things we've got to do is got to get the EDIS module back in. Such a simple little thing. No, it's not mappable. No, you can't really do much with it, but it runs the engine. It's a carbed engine and it's non-turbo. It's normally aspirated, so don't need to worry about it being all singing, all dancing. It's done the great trick for years, so very, very happy with that. Now, the exciting bit is now the EDIS 4 modules in, we can start putting back in some of the paneling. Now, this panel goes in here, it's got a heat shield on the back of it. So that panel's in. And now the exciting bit, and I don't know how this is gonna look because basically, I had to work with the materials I had at home. I've got a material that's kind of a charcoal grey, which I'm hoping will go with the interior. Not so much the seat and the rest of the black car, but will go in with the interior. We're just about to find out, so I'm gonna go and get it. So, let's see how these fit. That's great, I'm very happy with that for now. Right, so we're gonna take the bonnet off now, get it up on the top of the bench, and then get the brackets on it for fitting it to the front. We also need to put the grille back in the front of it as well. So, don't wanna do that on the car. And then, before I do that, I'm gonna come back down the front because there is something I've been waiting to do for a while. And what I've been waiting to do for a while is fit these. Now, this is now, we've sprayed the lights, we've sprayed the brackets, we've had these ones powder coated to make them look really nice. I've got a little quick job to do where I've got to put some heat shrink back on these cables, and then we're going to fit it to the car and see what it looks like. I'm super excited, and it will make a real big difference when we put the bonnet on as well. I've only got one of these ready at the moment. The other one is just drying, and obviously I've got to put the bullet connectors back on here because I've had to thread them through the arm. But if we just get this in place. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So we'll get our bullet connectors on and crimp those on and make sure they're all connected up properly. And then we'll move back over to the bonnet. I'm used to doing it with a pair of pliers, which I know is terrible. They're all in, and if the battery was in, that would all work. So we need this, which is our grill, and that goes in like this. Now I know this one definitely has some points on it which are short, but this one is fine. These ones are fine. It's just the two at the end where we need very little short ones. Right, annoyingly, I have somehow used the bolts elsewhere because they were clearly shorter ones, so that was great, so I wasn't going to be sort of like threading them in so far. So annoyingly, I need to go and order some bolts or go and pick some up tomorrow. That's not a problem though, because I still wanted to do a quick job on this. And the quick job I wanted to do was mounting these plates. The reason being is that this gives me the opportunity to actually see the car with the bonnet back on, which is something I've been waiting to do for a long time. I want to show it to you as well. So what I need to do is I need to just fit these. That is, I think that looks pretty cool. But like, because you've only got one light on, so if you want to come over here and have a look, and you can get it from this angle, come and stand where I'm looking at it from. But I'd say it's worked out pretty well. And the color scheme I'm really happy with, and the gold wheels look amazing, and yeah, we're certainly going in the right direction. Right, fuel tank's coming out, and we're getting ready to put the battery in. So you can just lift this up and just move it over here, and then I can slide the battery in underneath. Annoyingly, I've just remembered that when I put the steering rack back on, this cable, which is rather important because it's the earth cable for the battery, which allows everything to work on the car, didn't go back in, so I've got to quickly fit that. Right, the battery's in, the lights are connected, so let's see if they work. First time. Amazing. Right, on to the next job. Right, I've been waiting very, very patiently to do this next bit. I'm so excited about this part because it's just gonna start bringing the color into the car. Yeah, the gold and the black is great, but I said I was gonna use red accents, and this may be a little bit over the top, this bit, but I think it's gonna look pretty cool. How does that look for the rocker cover? It's not a VTEC. I totally get it. I'm not trying to make it look like it's got one in it. I would happily put a VTEC in this car as well, but the red is gonna look wicked. So let's get it in. It's pretty striking in there. I'm really happy with that. I think that's the nicest the engine bay's ever looked on this car. And I know we're doing this on a budget and there's loads of polishing and you know, all sorts of other bits we could do to really make it stand out. But I just think with the black, with the Webers actually looking quite dull and things like that, and then the bright red, I just think it looks wicked. So let's move on to the next bit. Right, so I didn't actually get to go through this bit. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the timing right. But this guy here, Lewis, who's been with us before, very, very kindly design and machine this linkage for us. This is, the shaft is a solid piece of billet aluminium, and basically it is designed so it slides over a rose joint with spaces in here. It's nice and heavy and thick, and it gives it a lot of weight for when you're changing gear. And then we've got a stainless steel machined gear knob. This was just done as a temporary. I didn't actually work with him on the design on it, but he made up this temporary one. So we've got this here. But I wanted to talk about this because Lewis, I'm very, very grateful. I think it's a great design. I know it looks everything looks a bit rough at the moment because we haven't got all the trim on, but this is going to be a wonderful addition to the car. So I'm very, very grateful. Cheers, buddy. Right, it's about 400 degrees out here today, but I have just booked the car in for its MOT tomorrow morning, and there's a load of little bits that I've got to tidy up. There's just nuts and bolts and bits and pieces here and there. So I'm just going to take you around a few little bits that I've just done. I have put the strap back on the petrol tank to hold that in place. We are just doing the tunneling at the moment, so we've just got to put the panel back in here. So this needs to go back in and get wired in as well. Then round the back, we've put oil in the engine. There's been a couple of Jubilee clips that needed replacing, which I've done as well. There's a new gauge on here. So the new gauge for the fuel line and the pressure regulator as well. This indicator here we've got an issue with. I'm not going to film me sorting it all out, but basically this indicator isn't working for some reason. So I've just got to test the cables coming to it to make sure there's power and try and work out where the issue is. But it's really, really coming together. I'm just going down into the pit because I need to put the water hoses back on underneath the back of the tunnel. So we're going to do that now. Right, so these hoses that we took off to drain the system need to go back on. So I'm just going to do that. I don't know how well you'll be able to see from here, but I'll try and move the camera so you can see it. But it's not too bad. There's 2 aluminium pipes you can see just coming out the end here. They just need connecting onto these. So we're going to do that quickly, and I'll see if I can just keep it so you can see. Whew. Right, those are in. So we're now going to fill the water system, and fingers crossed, no leaks. The last piece of tunneling that I had that went up underneath the dashboard was kind of swept. I'd made like the swept shape, but unfortunately that interferes with the new gear stick. So I've had to make a new flat panel to go in. So I'm just reassembling it. We've got USB sockets, voltage monitor, and this is a cigarette lighter for traditionally what you would have put in a USB adapter. It's just what came with all 3 of them. I will swap this out for another USB, but for now I need to get this back together again and get it in the car. So it needs the horn put in. There's a tiny little hole where you have a light that basically shows that the water pump is running correctly. So I've got to put that in, and then yes, reassemble it and get it in the car. Those are all in. Horns in, just need to make the hole for this tiny little light, and that will just show me that the pump's running. So pathetic. Right, we are at the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching so far. It's been quite a long build. I think I probably took on a bit more than I probably should have done for my first build, but we are here and it's time to show you what the car really looks like. So without further ado, so if you can remember back, as we were building this, we changed the whole colour to black. We've gone for the gold wheels. We've got red accents. You can see the seat belts are red. We've had the rocker cover done in red as well. It's got a whole new look to it. We've had loads of parts powder coated. We've had loads of new parts made. And I just think this is the best the car has ever had. I've had it 22 years this year. And I honestly think this is the best she's ever looked. And I am over the moon. So thank you to everybody who has watched this video. I have been so blown away with how positive people have been, how supportive, what kind words I've received. And now we're going to move on to the bit that I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, where we're going to make this look a little bit more radical. But that's for the next one, so I will see you later. Cheers.